Hello there guys, time for another summary of the month that have been passing by. A vinyl CD update for March. What you're listening to in the background is Herb Geller Sextet. Herb Geller, Lorraine Geller, Ziggy Wines, Conte Condoli, Elridge Freeman, and Lyra Vinegar and Keith Marshall. Sounds really good to me. Some great jazz from the 50s. I'm turning it down a little bit. March has been a little slow month, but I'm not complaining because I need to save some money for the summer. I'm going to Gothenburg for a week in July. It's the second biggest city in Sweden, so I need to save some money for record shopping and all the stuff that I'm going to do there. And also we have a record fair here in Sundsvall next Saturday, the 8th of April. So maybe save something for there too. I hope I will be able to film inside of the record fair like I did last autumn. Next week I hopefully will be showing a video from the fair. But of course hasn't been totally empty on findings, of course, or else it would be totally unnecessary to show this video. So it's been a pretty good month with a whole lot of, I bought today, actually I went to the second-hand store and bought a whole bunch of 70s, so it's going to be very interesting to show these. And for the first time in this channel's history, I will show a couple of books that is music related, that I will most likely read some time during the year. So I'm going to start with these books. Actually, I found the pocket version of the autobiography of Miles Davis, written by Miles Davis and Quincy Troupe. I'm already reading an autobiography of a Swedish comedian, Magnus Härenstam, so hopefully I will be able to begin this book somewhere during the summer. When I'm in Gothenburg, it will be interesting to sit on a cliff watching the oceans and read Miles Davis' autobiography. It would be very interesting. Nice pictures. So very interesting. I also found this one. This was very interesting. This is His Master's Voice, 1957-58. This is a complete catalog over His Master's Voice releases from these years, 57-58. It's EPs, it's full-length vinyls, it is 78s, and especially 78s are very interesting because a little bit I don't have all that knowledge about every 78 I have, so it might be interesting to have this as some kind of a guide when I'm shopping 78s, which I want actually. But it's very interesting to see overall what I want from this one. It looks very interesting, a whole lot of jazz, very much jazz and classical music, so very interesting to have actually. So that was the reading side. Let's move on to music. I actually have start with the 78s. No, I'm still stuck in this book. I'm going to start with 7-inch singles. I actually found a whole bunch of great jazz singles, jazz EPs actually. This is the only single that I'm showing that isn't in the jazz genre. It's actually an 80 single, the Lotus Eaters, the first picture of you. It's very interesting how I got into this song. Very odd way, actually, because in the 80s when we had all these channels, MTV and Sky channels where I lived in outside of Sundsvall, I recorded 3 tapes with with music videos, and on one of the tapes, the VHS cassettes, there wasn't all that much left. So I felt like I just put it going, and whatever is will be taken to the end of the tape. And it was this song. Never heard of it, but it was too little time on the VHS tape to actually record something that I wanted to have. And the more I listened to it, the more I felt that actually this is a good song. This is a very, very good song. And today I'm very happy to finally find a single of it. Jazz, then. This is an EP with Errol Garner. Trio. Plays loose nuts, blues, Garney, pastel, fantasy on Frank and Johnny, love is the strangest game, and trio. Musicians here is Red Callender and Harold West. Released on Gala International, a very much low budget label that I'm usually not all that fond of. But actually I have to say that this is a very, very great recording. Maybe the best Gala International release I ever heard. So it's very, very great Errol Garner recordings. So definitely stay in collection. Artistry of Stan Getz. I already have one Artistry of Stan Getz that I've been showing before in this channel, but that one was another one. This is there are many EPs in this series of the Artistry of Stan Getz. So now I found another one in the same series. This one contains These Foolish Things, How Deep Is the Ocean, Thanks for the Memories, and Hymn to the Orient. Also, Ella Fitzgerald, Little White Lies, As Long As I Live, Blues in the Night, and You Brought a New Kind of Love to Me. This is a release from Jukebox, and these recordings are an EP with songs from an album released in the 1958, I think, called Ella Fitzgerald Swings Lightly, something like that, and with orchestra conducted by Martin Page. But it's very, very interesting. I'm a huge fan of Ella Fitzgerald's voice, so this one is very, very great big band music with vocals, so very great to have. Buddy DeFranco with a release on Jazz the Philharmonic, talking about Norman Grant's release. Plays here Fernando and the Things We Did Last Summer. The interesting here is that we have this is swing, late 40s swing, or no, 50 swing, sorry, 50 swing, 1957, 54. The musician here is Kenny Drew, Art Blakey, and Milt Hinton. So it's one of the few times I hear Art Blakey play the swing music. Benny Goodman, Stomping at Savoy, both in quartet version and big band version. Lady Be Good and Goodbye. As far as the release, recordings are from 35 and 36. So very, very interesting. I have a whole lot of big Benny Goodman EPs, so it's great to add another one to that one. This one was very, very interesting. I was more or less a blind buy by it, but it paid off. It was very, very great, very interesting. I don't know if this musician is called Germany's Benny Goodman, maybe. however, it is a German recording, German swing, from the 50s. Siggy Gerhard's Schwingtett. We have Siggy Gerhard on clarinet, Theo Sevin on vibes, Klaus Vetter on piano, Hilbert Homburg on guitar, Karl-Heinz Wilhaus on bass, and Rolf Beckerhoff on drums. They play Who's Sorry Now, Undecided, Wang Wang Blues, and Topsy. In a recording from 1958, and this is also live recordings. Released on Swedish label Metronome. So it sounds very, very good. Sounds very much like something like Benny Goodman sextet. So very interesting. I'm always interested in hearing traditional jazz from other countries than the usual ones. So let's move on to CD singles. Boy George, The Crying Game from the movie with the same name. You who know this song might guess why I bought this one. Of course, it is produced by the Pet Shop Boys. Boy George and Pet Shop Boys in a very, very great combination. Remember this song when it was released in the mid-90s. It's from 1992. Sorry, it was released in the early 90s. So I liked it from the beginning because Pet Shop Boys have done a really smooth and great version to this one. Also, I had pure luck, and this is a smooth walk over to full-length CDs. I had a great deal of luck this month with the Swedish group Kent, who unfortunately no longer is together. They have split up and stopped making music, but managed to find a couple of great stuff that I didn't have before. This one is called an EP. It's a double EP set, the two CD EPs called the Hjärta Smärta EP, the Heart and Pain EP, and contains a song called De som försvann, is actually sung among others with the children choir. I think that song is maybe one of Kent's not best songs actually, but it's one song on this one, and overall it's very, very interesting. I'm trying to have complete Kent catalog, so this one was a must to have. But this one was also very interesting. This is actually the final stuff that Kent ever released in the late of 2016. A compilation called Best Of, including 4 new tracks that has been labeled as the final songs that ever will be released by Kent. It is the best songs from the start in the mid-90s until as I said, the final songs in 2016. 20 years of Kent music on a double CD set, released only a couple of months ago, late 2016. So it's very, very fun to have. And I actually managed to find a Madonna, but I am a little bit careful. I managed to find Hard Candy, and I think everybody who followed my channel knows that what I feel about Madonna's albums from the 00s and forward. I more or less only like Confessions on a Dance Floor, but I like very much Madonna from the 80s and 90s. But her later albums is not my style, but I know that Adam A.S.Heaven has been reviewing this, and I think I said once that I would give it a chance to see what I think about it, and more or less I bought it to have somewhat of a complete collection. But I fear the worst, that this might not be all that good, but hopefully some songs are really good also, anyways, so it's going to be very interesting. We have, last month I bought a very early Randy Crawford, and this month I bought a little later Randy Crawford. Randy Crawford, Through the Eyes of Love, from 1992. Little smoother, almost like smooth jazz style, and it's really relaxing, it's great, and of course it's Randy Crawford's voice. I have no problem, I really like this album, even though it's even stronger albums in the 80s, of course, but this is a very, very good, a great album produced by Michael J. Powell. I only have one problem, and that is the final song, Diamante. It's a duet with Italian singer Zucchero Fornaciari. That I feel is very misplaced. I'm no huge fan of his to begin with, but I think that Randy Crawford and Zucchero isn't the best combination. But that's the only song that is down. Is the downside of this album. And vinyl, full length. We have this one, Jazz to start with. Art Farmer, The Portrait of Art Farmer. This is actually a sealed copy, and it's not a cutout, so and most likely a reissue. But I think I will do maybe I will do a seal to reveal for this one. It looks very interesting. He plays with Hank Jones piano, Edison Farmer bass, and Roy Haynes drums. Some Latin music, Brazilian music. I've heard of this band from my friend Otto, and it's sounded very, very interesting. I'm very surprised to find a complete album with this band. Samba Trio, the album Tristeza from 1983. But great Brazilian music in a little format. I actually bought myself a classical album. Can you believe that? It's not often I do that. But I do like Baroque music very, very much. Especially if it's played with the flute or oboe and something like that. I like very much. So I just felt like, why not? This looks very interesting. I buy it, even though I felt like maybe I don't need it, but felt like it would be very interesting. Tommaso Albinoni, Concerto per Oboe, Concerto for Oboe. And it is concertos from Opus 7. And it's going to be very interesting. Heuy Lewis and the News. Self-titled, I think this is their debut from 1980. Got hold of some cheap records that are a little bit water damaged, but it's going to be very interesting. Michael McDonald, Take It to Heart, from 1990. A huge respect for Michael McDonald's voice, so it's going to be very interesting. Listen reprise. And this now it is 70s, everyone except one. So this one I was very happy to find. Paul Simon, Still Crazy After All These Years, from 1975, consisting 50 Ways to Leave Your Lovers and so on. I'm listening to this one. Not Paul Simon's absolute best album, but still a very good album. I've heard even better. But I think this one is still a very, very good one, very well made. I really like the song 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. I like the lyrics, is very, very, very interesting. So very fun, great to have, and it definitely will stay in the collection. the rest is bought today, so I have natural causes I haven't been able to listen to them, not even quick peeks. Blood, Sweat and Tears from 1980, Nuclear Blues. Trying to collect as much Blood, Sweat and Tears album as I can, so this one was on my wish list. Sleeve may not be in total perfect shape, written here and there, but still a great one. And this one I was so happy about. I wanted to have albums by Steely Dan. I only have a compilation, low budget compilation on CD without a proper sleeve, cover sleeve. So this one was finally my first original Steely Dan album, Gaucho from 1980, consisting Hey 19 and so on. Very, very interesting. And this one was also very interesting. This is 3 Degrees from 1973 with what I think is their debut. Oh. Very interesting clothing here. Oh, really nice Philadelphia release. I've been pretty lucky with B.T Express albums. I've showed one last update, and I managed also to find this month a B.T Express Energy to Burn from 1976. EMI release. This one, how can this one go wrong? This looks very, very interesting. Cut out, but who cares? This is a soundtrack from a movie I never heard of, Claudine. And it's starring James Earl Jones and another actress that I actually showed an album by last vinyl CD update, Diane Carroll. But the soundtrack is sung by Gladys Knight and the Pips. All songs, from what I understand. Some is instrumental, but it is Gladys Knight and the Pips who performs on this soundtrack. And his songs are written and produced by Curtis Mayfield. An album where Gladys Knight and the Pips and Curtis Mayfield are together. How can that go wrong? For this one I have nothing but high hope for. It's on Buddha. And finally, this is a 70s group with an early 80s album from 1981. They're very, very interesting. This is The Spinners and Labor of Love. Album before this one was so... I can't remember right now what name album before this one was. Maybe I can show it here. But that one was so amazing, so I have nothing but high hopes for this one, the album after also. So, that was my March. And I have of course excluded the Depeche Mode Spirit album. That also was bought during this March, but I already shown that. And the same goes with the Charlie Mingus album that I also bought, but same with it. So I think I will be back during next week with something, but also is, as I said, Record Fair next week, so we'll be filming then also. So until next time, have a really nice time, have a really nice weekend, whatever you do, wherever you are. So take care and so long.